KREM 2 News 10 at 10 begins now with Mark Hanrahan and Jeremy Legoo.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started. We kick things off with a check of the weather. After a calm day across the region, we are once again gearing up for windy weather. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo joining us live in the Weather Center, tracking gusty conditions and elevated fire danger for tomorrow. Jeremy?
Yeah, it's looking a lot like it did on Sunday. We knew this storm was going to do something as it moved in, but as it gets closer, the signs are all there. So from about noon to 7 p.m., just be on alert. That's all we're asking. Blowing dust and increased fire danger are the main threats of this, but that blowing dust advisory stretches from central Washington straight through eastern Washington, with wind advisories down across the Palouse. Wind will gust up to 50 miles per hour tomorrow afternoon, but in addition to that, before the rain arrives, we have red flag warnings in place for just how dry it is. Increased fire danger is expected across much of the region, and that's as the wind picks up at about noon. It'll start with wind, then the cloud cover, then the rain. Rain looks to hold off until tomorrow late afternoon. And I don't think it's as heavy as some of those forecast models make it look. Instead, I think it's a light round of showers that moves through, but it's a windy light round of showers. We'll top out in the 60s and stay there Saturday before we get even warmer on Sunday.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the show. Go back to where you came from. That's allegedly what Idaho State Senator Daniel Foreman said to a Nez Perce tribe member at a candidate forum in Kendrick yesterday. According to our Boise sister station, it happened at the Kendrick VFW after a question came up about discrimination and legislation. That's when Democratic candidate Trish Carter Goodhart, a member of the Nez Perce tribe from Lapwai, said she was cut off by Foreman. KTVB, our sister station in Boise, spoke with her today.
I basically just stood up and I said, just because this isn't your lived experience does not mean that discrimination and racism don't exist today. And these are, very real experiences of so many Idahoans. And it's not an Idaho issue. It's a national and even global issue. I didn't even get to finish my sentence. The state senator, Foreman, shot up out of his seat and started, "I'm so tired of your liberal BS. Go back to where you came from."
Just hours ago, Senator Foreman released a statement on Facebook reading in part, quote, "The accusation made is patently false. Secondly, I threatened no one at the forum. There was no racial slur in my statement. However, one could easily interpret the remarks of my accuser to be utterly racist. What does you mean, or rather you people mean?" You can find Foreman's full statement and more to this story on our website. That's KREM.com.
I used to be shocked when there was an overdose, and now it feels like it's just like, oh, there's another overdose.
New tonight, the U.S. Attorney's Office arrested 17 people in connection with a drug trafficking ring that led to the death of multiple Lumi Nation members. They're accused of distributing fentanyl to members of the tribe. 13 people were arrested here in Washington, some of them connected to a crime family that allegedly dealt drugs all around Western Washington.
And there's not a community I visit that does not talk about the devastation that fentanyl has done to their communities. This poison has harmed their children, their families, their communities, and nowhere is that more felt than our Native communities. The disproportionate effect of fentanyl overdose deaths and fentanyl on our Native communities is really horrifying.
The U.S. Attorney's Office says this group distributed more than 800,000 fentanyl pills across the U.S. Over the course of the investigation, authorities seized another 846,000 pills, nearly 14 kilograms or 30 pounds of fentanyl powder and cocaine, and 29 firearms. After shutting down for an entire year, the Spokane Fire Department is getting ready to reopen its fire academy in January. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy is live at the academy tonight with more. Connor?
I'm going to speak with Spokane Fire Chief Julie Oberg, and she tells me that the Fire Academy training for this entire year has been shut down and will be open in 2025. She tells me that this being shut down was inevitable as the department looks to the budget when it comes to their staff and their equipment. This is where Spokane Fire would hold their annual Fire Academy training, doing the physical work outside and the coursework in a classroom. But for the rest of 2024, it's canceled.
A fire academy is an expensive proposition.
Expensive at $750,000. Spokane Fire Chief Julie Oberg says the decision for it to be cut was due to the $50 million budget deficit. But Oberg says the decision also is due to the department feeling comfortable this year with that cancellation due to what the department's been able to compensate for after the pandemic.
The last 2.5 years, the department has been doing 2 academies a year in order to rebuild our relief pool.
A relief pool is a group able to work as needed as staff take vacation or sick leave. During COVID, Oberg says the relief pool was limited due to COVID protocols, but now Oberg says it's not.
While that relief pool was not where we wanted it to be for a final number, it's healthier than it had been in a while.
Planning for training next year, emphasizing a vote this November, Oberg says is a need for first responders in Spokane.
The community safety sales tax proposal will be on the November ballot.
0.1% or $1 every $1,000 spent, excluding necessities like food, prescription drugs, or rent.
We are rebuilding our capital fleet to make sure that we have a healthy fleet of fire trucks and ladder trucks and brush trucks that honestly we've been rebuilding now for a couple of years.
Oberg says the Fire Academy training being cut this year is not a setback, but hopes the proposal will be voted in favor come November.
We felt comfortable this year that our numbers were healthier so that we could manage our overtime budget without it getting completely out of control and take 1 year away from Academy, and then we'll pick back up in 25.
Now, information on that proposed tax, more information rather, can be found on our website. That's KREM.com. In Spokane, Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
All right, Connor, thank you very much. And now to our night beat with a quick look at today's top stories. It's official, 2,000 gallons of radioactive waste will be making its way through Spokane to disposal facilities in Texas and Utah next year. It's all part of a greater project to get toxic waste out of Hanford. The route through Spokane was recently approved by the U.S. Department of Energy, despite opposition from Spokane city leaders.
But I'm hopeful that in the next 3 years, before they ship more, that we have a say in what that's going to look like for all the different types of waste that they want to remove from the site.
The Department of Energy says it's basically a test run that went through a robust public approval process. A Hanford site spokesperson for the Department of Energy says the waste is expected to be treated by the end of this year and transported sometime next year on semi-trucks. In our ongoing Boomtown series, 425 new homes are coming to Latah Valley. The future Marshall Creek Estates is about 121 acres located west of the Eagle Ridge community. This comes during the city's one-year moratorium for any new projects in the Latah Valley area, which went into effect this spring. That moratorium excludes applications already submitted, so the new development got the green light. Now the developer must build a roundabout on Cheney-Spokane Road. It's been a busy construction season, but with the weather shifting, we could see the last few projects start to wrap up. Over the past few months, the city of Spokane has worked on more than 40 different road projects. That includes street maintenance, pedestrian improvements, and major projects like the one that we have seen on Cheney-Spokane Road that ultimately required crews to go underneath the road and improve utilities in that area. And just within the city limits of Spokane, there are 2,200 lane miles the city must maintain.
So that takes time, and it has to be done over a period of time. There's no way we can get it all done at one time. And this year has been challenging. We've had some very challenging detours, and we understand that. But especially in Northeast Spokane, where you had, Bigelow Gulch with the county being done, the North Spokane corridor being done with WashDOT, and then we needed to do some work to tie into those projects as well.
But there is light at the end of the tunnel. The end of October, start of November is when crews will be officially wrapped up with their season. And that was your night beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. The union representing 45,000 striking U.S. dock workers has reached a deal to suspend their strike until January. Workers with the International Longshoremen's Association will resume work immediately. The agreement will allow the union and the U.S. Maritime Alliance to negotiate a new 6-year contract. Both sides reached an agreement on wage increases, but additional details have not yet been released. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time.